Welcome to Expert Talks by Kalkine TV. I'm Sage. Today's guest is Michael Chou, founder and executive producer at PS Esports. Established in Hong Kong in 2020, PS Esports is an independent media portal with a focus on everything esports. So here to tell us more about this emerging trend and sector is Michael Chou, founder and executive producer at PS Esports. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Sage. Thank you for having me on the show.
We are glad to have you with us today. It's not every day we get to speak to someone from this emerging sector of esports. So can you help us understand why has there been a rising demand for esports across the globe practically?
Yeah, sure. Esports, I guess one of the prominent reasons for the rising demand, as you might have guessed it, would be the pandemic. As people stay at home, they have to find ways to entertain themselves. It could be Netflix, it could be YouTube, and video games and esports is, I'll say, naturally one of the options available to them. So you see game downloads reaching all-time high, monthly active users numbers reaching all-time high. And even before the COVID, esports had always been on a rising trend. So as game titles become more mature, you get more viewership and more tournaments, the prize pool gets bigger. And the tournaments are held in ever bigger venues. So all the sponsors and name brands would like to get a piece of the action. So it's been, constantly increasing in terms of revenue and viewership number. And so the industry as a whole is investing more and more. And then the international sporting organizations like the FIA, which governs motorsport, and FIFA, which governs football, they would like to reach out to a niche market, teenagers who are between, let's say, 15 to 22 years old, and they would like to reach out to them via esports, which not traditionally, I would say, consume the content as we are, which is, maybe TV and also the traditional media. So when the International Olympic Committee and the governments also start to move into the space, the esports is ready to become the mainstream conversation, to be part of it.
Thank you. So esports is sort of related to gaming as well, and we've seen gaming really pick up the pace in the last year or so with blockchain games and AAA games. Everyone seems to be gaining. How do you see the technology evolving? There's been many announcements in esports, and you've got an online shop now as well. So we're seeing e-commerce come into it. It's really like a dream come true. You can participate in these esports, but can you help us understand the barriers? Do you think that if you don't have the best technology, you can't get into it? Could you explain the perfect gaming laptop?
Well, that's I would say the perception that many people have. You have to have the latest hardware, the latest and greatest computer or laptop to be able to participate, which is true in a sense, but not always the case. I would say for some of the games, top of the line laptop, like something from Razer or Asus, ROG, will definitely help you gain an edge if you play games such as first-person shooters like Call of Duty, things like that, which is like the AAA games which demand a lot of graphics powers. So if money is no object, then definitely get a top-of-the-line laptop with the latest Intel i7 or i9 processor, maybe RTX 3080 graphics card, which is quite important. If you want to rip all the opponents apart and dominate the game, that is definitely the laptop to have. Or if you want something that is more middle of row, something with a Intel i5 processor or Ryzen 7 processor, RTX 3070 graphics card, they'll give you a good performance as well. So if you play games like iRacing, Assetto Corsa, you compete in Street Fighter, let's say, that is quite adequate for those type of gamers. And if you're an occasional gamer and you like to play, maybe a few hours a week, then something more basic, for example, a RTX 3060 graphics card with let's say, Intel i5 or below processor, that would get you very nicely into the game and do your productivity software very well as well. It will last you for many years to come.
Thank you very much for that information. So last year, I think China imposed some curbs on education companies and some blockchain gaming companies as well, if I'm not wrong. Now, would you be able to talk us through how esports works? Is it blockchain game, and is it like gambling as well? Do you have any insights to share on that and the other important industry news?
Yeah, gambling is quite a sensitive topic. Locally in Hong Kong, it's not legal to be gambling on esports results. But you mentioned the legislation change in China, which limits the number of hours teenagers or children can spend online playing games per day. It affects esports to a certain extent. You see some of the revenue of the gaming companies decrease because of that, and stock prices were affected as well. So I would say esports and blockchain games, they are certainly on the rise, and I think it's going to be an upper trend despite sort of the short-term policy changes. So I think in the long term, traditional esports and the new play-to-earn blockchain games will be on the rise and coexist together.
Coexist. Sounds great. So there's also that new space of watch to earn. I see some gaming companies post videos up on their sites and you can watch the videos and earn as well. So innovation's driving the industry, and we'd love to hear your insights about some of the exciting innovations that have come across your path and what you're planning for your business too. Is fantasy sports similar to esports?
Fantasy sports, it could definitely be a genre of esports. That circles back to the question of what is esports, right?
Yeah.
So people imagine esports is playing video games and spending time in front of a console, but there could be so much more to that. For example, if, Tetris, it can be an esports. Playing something that is competing against yourself could be an esports as well. You have, for example, in the Olympics, cycling with time trial, and if you play a video game and you time the amount of time you finish it, does that count as esports, or does it have to be you have to play against an opponent? So where's the definition? So that is something to be debated. And I think fantasy gaming is not at the moment not part of esports. Is something that you have all the other elements of a traditional sports. But in terms of esports, I think at the moment people's perception is something like racing, for example, the Formula E Accelerate or the FIA GT Championship, where people get together, they sit in front of a sim racing machine, and they compete with each other to get the best lap time Or you have five a team. Let's say in America, you have Team Ethnic and 100 Thieves. You have five people compete against another team of five people on game titles such as League of Legends and some other titles as well. So I would say there are certain games that are coming up, for example, blockchain, which could be a good potential for the market to develop. But at the moment, esports is, as we know it, you have big tournaments, you have big prize pool, you have big teams, and big marketing. So it's becoming more like a traditional sports ecosystem, I would say.
Well, it's very interesting because if you can help us understand, is it actually a virtual version of real sports that are happening, or is it make-believe?
No, it's like I said, it's very similar to a traditional traditional sports ecosystem. For example, football, you have the teams, you have the players, and you have the team managers, you have the coaches, the managers, you have the Australian football league, for example, and a lot of advertisers, a lot of investment into that. Esports is similar, but I would say compared to the traditional sport, where each of the stakeholders, they are, I would say, profitable and well developed. You have a system of bringing up young players. Esports is not quite there yet. So some of the profits are concentrated on, for example, the IP owners, and then the players. They may have enough of an option when they retire at, let's say, the age of 25 to 30. So there are still a few areas that needs to get more mature and more balanced before it's becoming as mature as the traditional sports. But the revenue is definitely getting there. So the money is getting, on par with the traditional sports, I would say.
Yeah, the market caps have grown significantly for the industry. So I've noticed that the fan tokens in the sporting world, in the soccer world, they really create a lot of community interaction around them. People want to get involved with soccer fan tokens. And I'm noticing that there's also some other protocols that involve like run to earn, cycle to earn, crypto protocols. And you were mentioning that esports wants to be gamified. And do you see any opportunity for teaming up this collaboration with these other protocols?
I think in the future it's definitely something that is positive to the industry. So, for example, the Fnatic, they got the citizen key, which I have as well, and they're also selling more premier keys to their fans. So it's something that is contributing to as a revenue stream for the traditional esports teams, right? And 100 Thieves, they give out like a necklace, the digital version of it, to their fans to celebrate their winning of the championship of League of Legends. And then locally, Talon Esports, which is from Hong Kong, they also partnered with Polygon to give out NFTs to the fans. So it's something that is, I think all the teams are looking at, is how they execute that will be the key. And for the play to earn and run to earn things, it's part of the decentralized landscape. So you get locally the Animoca brands, which is quite famous, a unicorn, in the metaverse space. They own Sandbox and all the other metaverse pieces. So it's I would say they are not doing that in the esports fashion. For example, a play to earn, you get blockchain prizes when you play like a sandbox game. right? But it's not. It does not have the competitive element yet. So I would say, in the future, the two maybe combine esports and play to earn. You could see, people competing for some prize in sandbox or decentralized, which could be by definition a part of esports as well. But definitely the protocols, the blockchain, the ERCs, don't only one things. It's going to increase the revenue stream of esports. It opens up another channel for them to communicate with friends and perhaps get some revenue in the process as well.
Yes, that would be so much fun. And you mentioned before NFTs. So for people to participate on your platform, do they need a wallet and to buy NFTs?
Oh, not yet. Our platform is free to access, and if it's something that we are looking, how we can collaborate with the different providers of wallets or exchanges. We recently partnered with some esports organization. We sponsored their prizes, and we are their media partner. But in terms of creating or minting our NFT, that's probably something in the medium term. So I would say don't expect any airdrop from us in the near future, but it's something that we're looking at for sure.
Fantastic. Well, actually, that's a great segue to our final discussion point, your objectives for the upcoming months of this year for your company, PS Esports.
Yeah, so we are going to focus on content creation, as always. And I think we have plans to expand to, I'll say, first of all, we'll probably expand our editorial team to create more content, to boost our content creation capability. And then, as you mentioned, we have a shop as well. So we are looking to increase the number of products that we stock. At the moment, we have a selected range, but hopefully they will expand in the future and provide some recommendation to esports fans as to what equipment to get. And then in the medium term, who knows? Maybe some NFTs, partnering with some exchanges or local brands to explore that area. Who knows? And then esports teams is something that we've always been looking at. It's definitely something that is going to get us onto the international stage. But it involves a lot more effort, and hopefully we can get some investors on board, which would definitely accelerate us towards that goal. And in the long term, who knows? You see all the teams doing good things. They are winning championships. They're opening esports stadiums, and they are signing up KOLs. Who knows? The sky is the limit.
Yeah, that is a great motto. Well, it's a very exciting time for your sector, Michael. We do appreciate your insights and your time that you've shared with us today.
Thank you very much.
Best of luck with your goals. And if you've just joined us, we had an incredible discussion with Michael Chou. He's the founder and executive producer from Hong Kong-based company PS Esports. Please check out the full recording at Kalkine Media's YouTube channel. Keep watching for more of these excellent expert talks and market insights. Until the next episode, stay apprised and invest wise with Kalkine Media.